Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different to what I usually do on my channel, and I totally understand that the title is a little bit clickbaity, but I do promise you that the information that's in this video is very much relating to that statement. And I think for me, this video is not really directed at anyone in particular or any person. If anything, it is actually a little bit selfish and it's a little bit directed towards me. It's kind of like a note to myself, and I feel like with this video it's something that I want to come back to. Every time that I'm feeling like things just aren't good enough with my career, things aren't going well enough, and I'm just not pushing forward enough, I think this is the video I want to come back to really kind of give myself a pep talk and to kind of give myself a bit more motivation to really push forward with my photography. And I thought that this is something that maybe you guys, if you've experienced any of these things before, this is something to kind of keep in mind if things aren't going your way with photography and why you feel maybe that you're not becoming as successful as you'd hope. Because I think with photography, when it comes down to it, everything comes down to you. And especially if you are a freelancer, you know, you do everything yourself. It's very hard to take sometimes to realize that if something doesn't go your way, then it's going to be down to you and how you handle it. So without further rambling, I'm going to go straight into the video and tell you guys why you won't become a successful photographer. Keep in mind that all of these things that I'm about to talk about, I have experienced myself quite a bit, and these are things that I've picked up over the years that I think have really not contributed to my photography career in one way or another. And I think they probably just need to be put out there. So number one is the fact that you compare your work to others and that you become quite jealous of others' work. So this is a really big one for me. This is something that I've really dealt with a lot over my career. It's the constant thing of being creative and wanting to get inspiration from others, but then finding, I guess, that you end up becoming jealous instead, or you end up comparing your work to theirs. And this is like one of the worst things you can do, I think. And I still do it to this day. It's almost hard to not do. But comparing your work to others just kind of tends to send you in a bit of a spiral of, my work's not good enough, it'll never be as good as theirs, or it can send you into the whole other spectrum of, oh, I'm so jealous of this photographer, or they're not good enough, you know, my work's better than theirs, and that's just like the worst, most destructive thing you can do with your own work and with pushing ahead with your own career. So I think this is a really big one, and I don't think you'd become successful from comparing your work to others and becoming jealous of other people's work. It's just not a good thing to do. It doesn't help anyone and just makes you more demotivated to actually do good work. Number two is that you'll never try anything new. And this is another big one. I feel like there's been times throughout my career where I am happy just doing what I'm doing and I don't try anything new, and I think that's when my work tends to become boring. And this is one of the worst things, because this really does make you feel a little bit, I guess, stale with your own work, and that you're not trying anything new, you're not pushing yourself outside of the box. And I think other people pick up on that too, when you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, whether it be editing or taking the same photos, so having the same subject. I think it tends to become boring for people and for yourself as well, and both parties do pick up on it. Like I said, I've had plenty of times where I haven't tried anything new for a couple of years straight, and I tend to become very jaded with my work. So I think it's really important to try new things all the time, even if they don't work out, you know, or if you feel they don't work out. There's no right or wrong with photography in terms of creating a photograph, and you learn from everything that you do. So, you know, just try something new every now and then. Number three is that you refuse to learn from others. This is another big one for me. These are all big points, to be honest, but I think refusing to learn from others can happen almost subconsciously, and sometimes you get sort of stuck in a bubble of just me, working on my own stuff, and you don't pay attention to really anyone else and any other photographers. And sometimes it becomes a bit of a habit to do that, and it's not really the best habit to get in, because if you're not learning from others, if you're not taking the time to learn new things, then that's really not pushing your work ahead. It's not really benefiting your work. Sometimes it can be the smallest tips that you learn from other people or online or from wherever that can completely change your work and how it looks. and it can really take your work to the next level. So I think it's really always important to learn from others and to mimic people in a sense, not copy, but it is important to learn from others and maybe getting to assisting. I think some photographers have too much pride, and I'm one of those photographers. I've experienced this before. Like I said, these are all things that have affected my work over the years. And you do sort of feel a bit too proud. You're like, well, no, I'm my own photographer. I don't need to go and assist anyone. You're not learning in that sense. You're not really taking time out of your career or your day to go and learn from others. And it's such an important point. I think this really needs to be done. Number 4 is that you procrastinate or you are inconsistent. I think these two tie in together very well. Because if you're procrastinating, then you're being inconsistent with your work generally. Probably for me, this is one of the points that has appeared most throughout my career as a photographer, because at times I do get lazy and I do procrastinate things, and I always keep in the back of my mind, oh, you know, I'll always get around to doing it, I'll get around to doing it, but then you never do. And then all of a sudden you've become inconsistent. You haven't posted a photo online in a week or two, and people lose interest in your photographs. You lose interest in doing photography because you get so used to this new routine of just, you know, pushing it to the side and then you'll get it done later. So this for me is really the enemy, procrastination and inconsistency. And this is what can actually kill your career and kill your motivation. I think these are all tied in together. So really get into a habit of not doing that, not procrastinating. And it doesn't take long for you to get in a new routine of doing things, you know, as it should be, but you just really need to get into that new routine and tell yourself to not do it. And to be consistent. Consistency is such a huge thing with photography, because if you're not consistent, that's when stuff starts to fall apart, I think. And even with your style of photography, consistency is important, and trying to get something out there that is you, and that you feel like if someone looked at your images, then they could tell it was your photo. And number 5, the final point, is the fact that you are only concerned with having the best gear or having the perfect kit. This is something that I would say I pride myself on not doing all the time. I think I'm not overly concerned with gear and with photography equipment. However, there have been times, even with me, where I've caught myself thinking, oh wow, if only I had a 1DX, I feel like my photos would be as good as theirs. Or, oh, if I think I had a better lens or something, then my photos would really reach that next level and totally change the look of my photos and give me better concepts for images. And it's like, that's not really how it works, unfortunately. As easy as it would be to go and buy a new lens and have your photos transform, I mean, they do, technically they do transform, they look different. But in terms of concepts, in terms of motivation, in terms of everything to do with your own business and everything to do with becoming a photographer, that is not the most important point. And you do need to get out of that headspace of always thinking, oh, you know, my work's never going to be as good as theirs because I don't have their camera, or I don't have their lenses, or I don't have their equipment. Because it's not important. I mean, it is important to a degree, but not important in the sense of becoming a successful photographer whatsoever. Equipment is something that comes with time. And once you start making money from photography, you can invest a little bit more into your equipment and have that little bit more of a professional edge with your photos and all that sort of thing. But it is not going to be the reason you become a successful photographer, and thinking about it all the time and stressing about it is not going to make anything better. So I'd say that is my 5th and final point of why you won't become a successful photographer. And I hope these points have been interesting for you guys, and you might have experienced some of them yourselves. And you know, if you do ever feel like your career's not going in the right direction, and like I said at the beginning of the video, it is all down to you and how you handle things, and whether you motivate yourself to go out there and push harder with your own work. So maybe come back to this video if you feel that something's not right. You know, what are you doing or what are you not doing that is maybe causing you to become unsuccessful? Of course, this is not set in stone. There are outside elements that can prevent people from becoming a successful photographer, but I think these points are things that I've picked up on over the years that really do make a difference in terms of your attitude towards photography and to others, and I think they're important to remember going forward with your own work. Alright guys, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. And if you'd like to follow me, I'm currently in Munich at the moment, but if you'd like to follow me on my adventures around the world at the moment, you can subscribe to my travel channel, which is listed in the description box below. I'm currently doing a lot of travel vlogging with my boyfriend Dan, so if you want to see where I'm at the moment, go to the link and check it out. If you guys need some advice at the moment on how to push forward with your photography career, feel free to put some comments down in the comment section below with any questions that you might have, or if you need some extra motivation, let me know, put them down in the comments section, and I'll do my best to reply to the comments and to hopefully give some advice on your photography career and how to help you push forward. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!